This article is on India-Maldives relation. As you know, recently Maldivian government has taken various steps that are against the interests of India, that are against the strong relationship which has been built by the previous establishment of Maldives. There is a necessity for us to understand why this has become a pattern. Sometimes our relationship are stronger with Maldives, sometimes they are not. As what it indicates is ultimately our relationship are connected or linked to the domestic politics of Maldives. This is not a sustainable way to make the international relations with the other countries. So there are certain lessons that India should learn. At the same time, even Maldives should learn to improve its international stature as well as its domestic development as well. That is what we are trying to assess through this article. The title of the topic is An India Out Plan That Could Impact Maldives. So, Maldives is taking steps to see that the presence of India in Maldives is lower. At the same time, to reduce the relationship strength. Why it is taking is what we are also going to see in this particular article. Relevance of the topic is understanding India-Maldives relationship. And from UPSC syllabus, Mains GS paper 2, International Relations. We have previous year questions on these topics as well. For example, discuss the political developments in Maldives in the last 2 years. Should they be of any concern to India? So, you cannot completely isolate international relations from the domestic politics. The previous year question asked by UPSC is a testament to it. So, what is the context here? Context is the India out plank played by the Maldives, the present Maldivian establishment. How we could assess it is through the recent steps taken by the Maldives. For example, Maldivian government has taken a decision to not renew the 2019 hydrographic agreement. So, hydrography agreement is an agreement through which India could conduct hydrography survey in the oceanic waters which surrounds the Maldives. This actually provides us the required information to understand oceanic profile, which ultimately enable us to understand the ecology of waters. At the same time, it gives us information which will be helpful for Navy of India as well to improve its abilities, capabilities. Because the profile of ocean gives us the information that could be utilized to improve or enhance the naval capabilities. It might be stealth attacks or it might be to understand the movements of the enemies, thus reducing the capability of Indian Navy. At the same time, the ability to understand the ecology of the Indian Ocean. And Maldives have already asked New Delhi to pull out its Indian military presence. Thus, this too has reduced India's stature and standing in the Indian Ocean region, as well as reducing its military strength to display its dominance in the Indian Ocean region. Indian Ocean region is the region that surrounds India, and maintaining strength here is of paramount importance. Next, the other thing we have noticed with Mali, that is the Maldives, is it has skipped the India's invitation to attend Colombo Security Dialogue. Instead, it has attended Indian Ocean Forum, which has been organized by China. This itself shows that it is playing India-China card. So this is a worry. If China becomes closer to Maldives, it ultimately impacts the interests of India in the Indian Ocean. It is with regards to security, economy, or politics. In all ways, it is damaging to India. Thus, there is a necessity for us to strengthen the relationship with Maldives. Now, the basic concerns. The basic concerns is the power of asymmetry. India is such a huge power. Either it might be economy, either it might be politics, either it might be the population. It is huge in its size. Thus, there is asymmetry of power. India's power is far higher when compared to its neighboring states. That is true even with Maldives as well. Whenever such equation arises, the countries try to play the India-China card or whatever the big brothers that are in play in this particular context. For example, if there is United States-Russia, the countries try to play this card to gain benefits from both the countries. Even this might be true with regards to Maldives as well. And if you look at the Nepal, again and again we witness this India-China card being played by the establishment to gain attention of both the countries. Whereas asymmetry is one of the reasons why there is a possibility that even India is witnessing these issues with Maldives as well. So that is why we need to follow the doctrine called Gujarat doctrine, where instead of playing a big brother attitude, there's the necessity for extending benefits to these countries without expecting anything in return. That could actually reduce the fears from these countries of the asymmetry of power. The asymmetry of power is nothing but the possibility that given the huge power differentials between both the countries, India will not impose its will upon these countries. Rather, it only extends benefit, and thus it is beneficial to these countries to continue positive relations with the power asymmetry rather than be fearful to India and try to bring in the third party like China into picture. This is one of the important strategies that India should adopt. Of course, India has always been a passive partner where it has extended developmental projects in these countries. Yet what we are witnessing recently is an issue that we have to reckon as quickly as possible. Then comes the influence of domestic politics over bilateral relations. So, in the past, when Sole was in power, we have seen India first policy adopted by Maldives. But now we are seeing India out campaign played extensively by Muizu. And Sole's too closeness with India might also be considered as one of the reasons for the rising anti-India sentiments in Maldives. Muizu has played into those sentiments and tried to capture the power, thus playing to his politics. Then comes the growing fundamentalism in Maldives, which is a concern. A report has shown recently of the growing radicalism in Maldives. Added to it, the invitation of the Maldives to the countries like Pakistan, Saudi, etc. has led to increased establishment of Islamic institutions which are alleged to have promoted the radicalization. This is also one of the reasons for increasing anti-India sentiments in the Maldives region. The 2007 blast in Maldives is a testament that radicalism is increasing. This has a security threat to India as well as India's ability to maintain close relations with Maldives. We already referred to Gujarat doctrine, where India, instead of playing a big brother attitude supposed to extend developmental projects, India has been doing it. For example, the Indira Gandhi Memorial Hospital, the Faculty of Engineering Technology, Faculty of Hospitality and Tourism, these are testament to India's gentle gestures to the countries, which especially surround our borders, as well as our littoral partners like Maldives. And this against the China's debt trap diplomacy. Yet countries are moving towards China. With China, through its huge debt trap diplomacy, is actually making the countries to go bankrupt and be completely dependent on China. Actually, it is China which is playing the big brother attitude instead of India. And even in the context of Indo-Pacific, if you observe, under UNCLOS, we are trying to uphold the international agreements. India is trying to uphold international agreements to establish peace, to see that there is code of conduct in Indian oceans. Whereas China is violating all these principles. That could be seen from the string of pearls through which China wants to encircle India and threaten its naval superiority in the Indian Ocean, as well as reduce its dominance in the Indian Ocean region, which is of huge security implication to India. That is why we have launched Necklace of Diamonds strategy to checkmate China with regards to the string of pearls strategy adopted by China. So all these are the indications of the way that the India-Maldives relationships are moving on. Despite the fact of gentle gestures by India, despite adopting Gujarat doctrine. But the way forward is we need to adopt neighborhood first policy approach with political neutrality as central point. We need to see that the domestic politics of the neighboring states or the littoral states doesn't play out with regards to India's relationship with these countries. It might be Sri Lanka, it might be Nepal, it might be Maldives, or it might be Bangladesh. We have to be careful with regards to the strategies that India need to adopt to stabilize our relationships. And thus, we need to see that it becomes a diplomatic and political plank rather than the thorn that actually compromises India's interests. We have seen in the past where during the time of crisis, India has went its way and saved Maldives, even during the COVID crisis. Maldives has reciprocated India and said that it supports India's UNSC membership, extending veto power to India. So we need to change our strategy to improvise relationship with the neighboring countries. This completes the article. Now let us look into another.